One day, I heard about a language exchange program at my school. In this program, I could practice speaking with someone who was a native English speaker. That is where I met Lucy. Lucy was from the UK, and she was learning Spanish. We helped each other by speaking a mix of Spanish and English. Sometimes, I spoke in English, and she answered in Spanish. This was great practice, because it felt like we were learning together. Talking with Lucy helped me a lot. At first, I felt shy and worried about my mistakes. But as we spoke more, I realized that making mistakes was okay. It was part of learning. The more I practiced, the more comfortable I became. I learned that the best way to improve speaking is by doing it often, even if you are not perfect. Little by little, I got better at expressing myself in English, and I felt proud of my progress. After practicing speaking, I knew I needed to expand my vocabulary. So, I started reading books in English. I did not choose difficult books at first. I started with children's books and simple stories. The sentences were short, and the words were easy. Even then, I sometimes had trouble understanding everything. I often stopped to look up words in the dictionary. But I didn't give up. The first book I read in English was about a boy and his dog. The story was simple, but I still needed help with some words. I remember feeling frustrated when I didn't understand a full sentence. But each time I found a new word and learned its meaning, I felt like I was growing. Over time, it became easier. I could read longer sentences, and I needed the dictionary less often. As I continued reading, I learned many new words and phrases. Short stories and articles helped me practice. They were short enough that I could finish them in one sitting, but they still introduced me to new vocabulary. Reading also helped me understand English sentence structure better. I saw how sentences were built, how words fit together, and how people express their thoughts in writing. The best part of reading in English was the day I finally understood a full story, without needing to check the dictionary. It was a wonderful feeling. I realized that I could now enjoy books in English. My vocabulary had grown, and I could follow along with stories easily. It was like opening a new door, and I was excited to keep reading more. Another way I practiced English was by watching TV shows and movies. I loved watching English shows with subtitles, because it helped me understand what people were saying. At first, I watched with both English and Spanish subtitles. I tried to match the English words with their Spanish meanings. This helped me improve my listening skills and understand how people spoke in everyday situations. One thing I noticed was that watching the same show more than once helped me catch new words. The first time I watched a show, I could only understand simple phrases. But when I watched it again, I noticed more details, like slang words or expressions. Repetition really helped me learn better. Watching TV also taught me about different accents in English. Sometimes, people in shows spoke very quickly, and it was hard to understand. But as I watched more, I got used to different ways of speaking. I also learned many casual phrases that people use in real life, but are not always in textbooks. For example, I learned phrases like "what's up?" or "take care." I had a few favorite shows that I watched over and over again. One of them was a popular comedy show where the characters used everyday language. I enjoyed the humor, and I learned many new words. I also watched some movies, and slowly, I started to watch without subtitles. It was challenging, but it really helped my listening skills. Watching TV shows and movies became one of my favorite ways to practice English. It was both fun and educational. Even though I was making progress, learning English was not always easy. There were many challenges along the way. One of the hardest things for me was understanding grammar rules. English grammar has many tenses, like past, present, and future, and it was confusing for me to know when to use them. Sometimes, I mixed them up, and my sentences didn't make sense. Another challenge was pronunciation. Some English sounds were difficult for me to pronounce, like the TH sound in this and that. I often said the words wrong, and it was frustrating. I wanted to speak clearly, but it took a lot of practice. There were times when I felt stuck. I couldn't understand more complex phrases, or I kept making the same mistakes. I felt like I wasn't improving. But instead of giving up, I asked my teachers and friends for help. They encouraged me to keep going and not be afraid of mistakes. Slowly, I learned that mistakes were part of the process. Each mistake helped me learn something new. I also learned to be patient with myself. Learning a language takes time, and it's okay to feel frustrated sometimes. What mattered most was that I kept practicing and didn't give up. Every day, I made a little progress, and that was enough to keep me motivated. One of the best experiences in my English learning journey was traveling to an English-speaking country. I had the chance to visit the UK for a few weeks. Before the trip, I was both excited and nervous. I was excited to practice my English in a real environment, but I was also worried that I wouldn't understand people, or that they wouldn't understand me. When I arrived in the UK, I immediately noticed the difference between learning English in a classroom and using it in real life. In school, I learned grammar rules and practiced sentences. But in the UK, I had to use English for everything: ordering food, asking for directions, and talking to people in shops. It was a little scary at first, but each time I spoke, I felt more confident. One of the best moments was when I successfully ordered food at a restaurant without any problems. The waiter understood me, and I understood him. It was a small victory, but it made me feel proud. Traveling really helped me improve my English, because I was surrounded by the language all the time. It gave me the confidence to speak more, and I realized that I could communicate well. Looking back, I am amazed at how much progress I have made since I started learning English. When I was a beginner, I only knew basic greetings like hello and goodbye. Now, I can hold conversations, write emails, and understand English movies and books. It has been a long journey, but it has been worth it. Learning English has changed my life in many ways. I have made new friends from different countries, and I can communicate with them in English. I also have better job opportunities now, because many companies look for people who can speak English. Most importantly, learning English has given me more confidence. I know that I can learn new things if I work hard and stay dedicated. My journey is not over yet. I still want to improve my fluency and learn more advanced grammar. I want to be able to speak English confidently in any situation. I also want to keep traveling and using my English skills in different countries. Learning English has been a rewarding experience, and I am excited to continue improving every day. My journey to learning English has been full of challenges, but it has also been full of successes. I started as a beginner, not knowing many words, but now I can communicate in English with confidence. Along the way, I faced difficulties with grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary, but I never gave up. I learned that patience and practice are the keys to success. For anyone who is starting their own journey, I want to say this: keep going. Learning a language takes time, but every little step brings you closer to your goal. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and remember to have fun along the way. English has opened many doors for me, and I am sure it will do the same for you. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and enjoy the process.